Alrighty, so viewers, welcome back. Great to have you here. It's that time of the week once again where we catch up over coffee. Although, as I look at your mug, it looks like you're drinking a green tea or something. Is that right?
I am, mate, yeah.
Okay, it's all a bit bloody herbal.
I've had my 2 espressos this morning, mate, so I'm firing on all cylinders.
Okay, good stuff. So, folks, catch up over coffee time. I'm really excited and pleased to have with me today the founder and CEO of Industrie Tapware, somebody who I would also like to think of as a mate, and that is Ryan Comerford. Welcome along, Ryan.
Thanks, James. Very excited to be here. Being a podcast virgin, this is my very first experience.
Is that right?
Happy to be joining along and coming along the ride with you, mate. So appreciate it.
Good on you, mate. Well done. All righty. So tell us a bit about you, right? Tell us the story, and most of the listeners and viewers will know, although if you haven't come across this before, what I like to do is to bring business owners on and have them kind of walk through their journey. And at some stage in the conversation, we'll probably talk about this ugly thing called sales, and the degree of comfort that you have had or not had in the past and all that kind of thing. But Before we get there, tell us a bit about you. Tell us the Ryan Comerford story, mate.
Oh, geez, I haven't had that invite for a long time. Originally moved down from Queensland to New South Wales to play a little bit of footy.
Mm-hmm.
Finished footy and actually fell into the recycling game, so scrap metal recycling in particular.
All right.
Spent quite a number of years in operations and things like that, and then got into the trading side of things, which was buying and selling at more of a state, national and international level. Spent a lot of time through Southeast Asia and that sort of stuff through that particular journey. And then in the early 2000s, probably 2003, thereabouts, my wife and I started buying and selling, and that was sort of our entry into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Bought and sold 15, 16 properties, got the renovation bug, really enjoyed that process. My wife was working as the live events manager for the Wiggles for 10 plus years, traveling the world, setting up all of those tours and events globally and living sort of rock star lifestyle. And then along came our...
Mate, let me interrupt you. So did you meet Sarah at a Wiggles show? Was that...
I didn't know.
No?
That would have been a bit weird, but no, I didn't have the pleasure of doing that. We met like all young 20-somethings. I think it was at a bar or a nightclub, and seen the girl of my dreams and pursued her like all good young 21-year-old men do, and got a number, and the rest, they say, is history. 20 years strong. So
good man.
So then our first son come along, and she didn't really want to go back to that particular lifestyle because she was traveling 3.5, 4 months of the year.
Yep.
I said, if we're going to get into business, you need to be passionate. I can't get into business and it becomes a job. I need to get into business because it's something that's going to improve our lifestyles and something we're really keen on doing. So she went and studied a little bit, started up a bathroom and design company that then sort of led us into me leaving the trading side of the business in scrap metal and coming in and assisting her with that. From there, we sort of found ourselves in a situation where, designing and telling people what to put in their bathrooms with regards to bathroom wear and tapware and that sort of stuff. We were doing that on the regular, but weren't really getting any support from other tapware companies out there. So about 4.5, 5 years ago, we decided to have a crack at that ourselves. We've seen a real lack of support from tapware manufacturers back to small businesses. In the fact that basically as a small business owner, bathroom renovator or designer, you physically had to go and buy those products through a retailer and not really get any type of financial reward for that, which we thought was really not fair, to be honest.
Right.
The banner behind me says Industrie Tapware. Industrie Tapware was formed off the back of that. It's Industrie Tapware because we're here to support the industry. We spent probably about 18 months doing our due diligence in finding the right manufacturing partners abroad. Two things were our main objective was to find manufacturing partners that were able to grow with us organically and not put a lot of pressure on us for order quantities and that sort of stuff, which is challenging in itself.
Yeah, right.
But also able to work with us on a design perspective that would allow us to bring the right quality, the right internals that we needed to, continuity of supply chain and all of that sort of stuff was crucial. And hence Industrie Tapware was born. We originally started as just a tapware company with 2 different styles of taps. We then explored the opportunity on bringing on more products. So we expanded that range to 4 different styles, 13 different variations across tapware mixers and showers and all that sort of stuff. Started with chrome. We now have 4 different finishes, just about to launch 2 new finishes in brushed nickel and our raw brass, which is really, really exciting. We then went into toilets. We now manufacture and design toilets, bring them in. Basins we moved into. And then I think the main thing for us, and which has been one of the biggest things we've added into the mix of bathroom products, are our bathtubs. So we spend a lot of time designing and working with our manufacturing partners abroad to bring in the right styles and looks that complement what we want to do for our particular clients' markets. And then about 18 months ago, a mate of mine owns a tile import company, and he said, I don't want to sell wholesale or direct. He goes, would you be interested in being the arm of our business? So we literally bolted on tiles to offer, I think what we've done now is offer a complete holistic product range to all of our bathroom and end consumer customers. So tapware, toilets, bathtubs, basins, tiles, the whole kit and caboodle. So business has gone from strength to strength, and very, very fortunate. Although it's definitely not an overnight success, as most people from the outside looking in probably think it is. A lot of hard work's gone into it, but we're here today, and gives me the opportunity to sit down and have a coffee with you, mate.
Yeah, good on you. What a great story. So let me go back a couple of notches. So there's you and Sarah, you know, in your earlier years together. When did the first seed of we want to own our own businesses start to take hold?
Oh, I think both of us have been very entrepreneurial thinking. I think you're either born that way or you're not. I don't think, for us, we always had that drive, right? So some people can learn it, and there's definitely skill sets we've developed over time, but they've been more around business management and navigating our way through that. But you either have the drive to not want to settle and continue to keep striving for things that you want in life. And we quite quickly realized that working a 9-to-5 job, while there's minimal stress, you can go home and switch off in most positions, it wasn't going to get us the lifestyle that we wanted. So we originally kicked off, our first little venture was a designer handbag. Well, it wasn't my business. My wife come up with that, where she had an enormous collection of beautiful things. And we started a company called Style for Hire, which was a rental designer handbag business where if women wanted to have an event, races or engagement party or something like that, there was, everything from Louis Vuitton to Gucci and all the way through. And so we started that up. Now that was an enjoyment business. It wasn't an extremely profitable one, but that was probably our first foray into small business and having a crack at something. But it was really off the back of our first child being born that we thought, you know what, we don't want to go back to that particular lifestyle of 9 to 5. And Sarah really wanted to have a crack and was very passionate about design and renovation. So that's how our other business started in that particular format. So, and we obviously had our first child through that process, and going back to her being away 3.5-4 months of the year was like, we need to take control of our own destiny and have a crack. So the rest is history.
Cool. What have been some of the kind of big shocking moments? So lessons learned, but as a result of a great big bomb going off of some sort?
Cash flow management, mate. That was probably the biggest thing early on. I came from a corporate medium to large size small business owner and part owner in some of those other recycling firms, to having teams around me that manage that. And I was more functioning at highest and best use in those particular roles. I was very much in my own lane, not having to worry about that, because you had financial controllers and CFOs and all that sort of stuff at your disposal that handled all that sort of stuff. So coming from that mindset and then having a small business, managing money in, money out. Have we got money in the account? We'll pay a bill. All of a sudden, this thing called BAS and GST get hit with at the end of the year. It's like, we need to pay some bills. So we at that particular point, the best thing we did was really understand where our shortcomings are. I'm very self-aware to know that I have particular skill sets that are valuable to the business, and also know that I'm really not good at other things. So we needed to get into a business coach to help us navigate our way through that, which we did. She was fantastic, basically turned our whole business from the cross the fingers and hope style, that, you know, way we were running it. Yeah, 100%. It's like, I think it's going all right. Yeah, with no clarity, no financial understanding of the business at all. To you know, we really delved into the Mike McCallowitz profit first way of managing funds, which completely turned our business upside down. Back to the old school way of, you know, as you were growing up, envelopes for rent and milk and bread and all that sort of stuff. We just did that with our business, and it just helped us manage that through a lot better. That's probably one of the biggest things that we had, because we quite quickly realized that while money was coming in, you quite quickly go broke earning money if you're not managing properly. So that was the biggest wake-up call. And then probably the second one is just the scale that particular business has gone through at the moment, going from probably 5 or 6 employees to now having 18 on board. So managing that new culture, really underpinning clear expectations and what success looks like and that sort of stuff. So yeah, they're probably the two biggest: cash flow management, and then just managing culture as the business is, you know, snowballing to the scalability that we're trying to get it to.
Yeah, cool. It's interesting, isn't it? That whole evolution from either being by yourself or with your partner, and whether it's, you know, your life partner and or your business partner, where it's, you know, 1 or 2 of you doing everything and doing all that stuff you love with passion, to then all of a sudden being an employer of others and having to use those 3 letters KPIs and all that kind of stuff. How have you gone with that? Have you gone with the evolution to being a manager of people as well as a manager of a business?
It's been a trend. I've always been in a managerial sort of role, and always strived, even when I was in operations early on in scrap metal. My ambition was to not drive the excavator, it was to tell someone else how to do it properly. So I always wanted to be the supervisor, and then go into a yard manager, branch manager. And then when I got into trading, it was just, I was never happy to sort of kick cans around the yard, you know what I mean? So I learned some skills there. I went and studied. I went and did a diploma of business management, majoring in marketing. I went and did a grad cert in business administration as well, just to really give me a little bit more of an understanding of what I had done previously on the ground, just to sort of help me navigate through that. But from a business perspective, the best thing we did was hire a operations manager this year in January, which we did through you. So I appreciate that that particular process that we went through. That was outstanding. And she, to date, has probably been our biggest and best key acquisition from a human resource point of view, because effectively Sarah and I just went, this is all the shit we enjoy doing. This is what we actually are good at doing. That's Vanessa's job. So this is the new operations manager's job.
Lucky Vanessa.
Yeah, but you know what? She thrives on it.
I know
she
does,
absolutely loves it. Systems, processes, like she's like fist pumping. She's like, hey, this is my jam. And we really needed that. Up until that point, Sarah's always probably been the main visionary. I like to think I'm a little bit that way as well. But one of us had to integrate and go, you know what, that's a great idea, but what the fuck does that look like? How does that actually work? Does that make us money, or are we going to go end up down the rabbit hole because it's enjoyable and really not focus on what our core business is? So, yeah, it's been a bit of a fun ride, but yeah, definitely key people once you can afford it. But I think in business, you really need to be able to be striving towards that. Otherwise, chief executive officer turns into chief everything officer, and you just burn out. You start to lose the fun, you start to lose the passion, because 8 to 10 hour days turn into 16 to 18, and you've got a young family, you're starting to burn the candle at both ends. So
yeah, cool, absolutely. And it doesn't matter whether you do it, you don't have an opinion on this, but do you have an opinion on when a business owner is at that point where it's getting more than they can handle? Outsource, insource, and what first? Is it bring on a salesperson first to generate more revenue, or is it going to get rid of the stuff that you don't enjoy doing? What are your thoughts on that?
So we've done it for Industrie Tapware, I needed to bring on someone else to help me generate more revenue.
Yep.
And we did that again through yourself, which was outstanding. I did that because I had a bit of operational support from our other business. So I was leaning on someone else to do that, right? With our other business, we effectively had designers coming on producing work. So we had enough revenue there. What we needed to do was, because we were scaling this, we needed to have someone in there to really tighten up our systems and processes. So we needed to go down that particular path. Having someone outsourced, for me, we lose too much time and traction, and things just take longer. Yes, it can be cheaper, but it can also cost you more in the long run.
Right.
Bringing Vanessa on in the other business, in-house 5 days a week, where we're literally having daily meetings about new policies, new procedures, all the fun shit no one wants to talk about, but I could just give that to her and she was pulling the business through that way. And then also, then we started to look at things like efficiencies and how we're actually doing it and how we can make more money with the current human resource that we've got in stock by just doing things better. So having someone in-house do that, understand the business. For us, bringing it in-house was the best and only way. We've done the same sort of thing with marketing as well. Mm-hmm. We originally had outsourced our marketing. And again, yes, it was cheaper. Yes, you have a whole team working on your brand and your goals. But bringing marketing in-house, we now have a creative director, we have a marketing coordinator, and we've just employed a new intern as well to help with that. The stuff that we're getting done and we're able to achieve with 3 people working 8 hours a week, 5 days a week is unbelievable. So yeah. For me, it's in-house. I like to keep people. There are things that we may look at later on down the track that support different pillars of the business. So web developers, graphic designers, stuff like that we can outsource. But from a management level, I like to have them in-house.
Yeah, cool. All right. So we've touched on marketing there, which is going to I'm going to use as a segue around your brand name. Your brand name has always intrigued me in that when I see that word industry with that word E or that letter E on the end, it reminds me of another brand. What caused you to choose that? I mean, I know you've said it's because it's supporting the industry, but
yeah, you mean the actual spelling?
Yeah, take me down that thinking process.
Quite frankly, the one with the Y was taken. Can't say it any other way. It is what it is. Right. We originally had it with a Y. Tried to go down that path of securing it and couldn't. Yeah. Hence, we put the IE on the end of industry and then pulled the tapware underneath it as well. So
right,
that's why.
I mean, I love it. I mean, seriously, it's because that in terms of the clothing brand, it's a cool brand, right? It's a cool brand. And so when I first saw your branding, I kind of thought, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then as I met you, not want to blow smoke up your ass, but both you and Sarah are cool cats, and it kind of made sense. So given that you've expanded now, because it's not just tapware, are you going to stay with Industrie Tapware, or is it going to become Industrie Bathrooms or anything else?
Yeah, look, when I sat down with the branding manager when we pulled together the concept for all of the branding and logos and all that sort of stuff, my main goal at that particular time was to be the best tapware company in Australia, providing high quality products to an industry that's never really gotten support before. So his main key point that you just brought up then was, when you go down the path of bringing in other products, are people just going to think you're still a tapware company? And it's like, well, yes, they probably will. But once we sit down with them and go through what we do, then there is that opportunity to sort of explain. I said, but from a general end consumer perspective, they probably think that we are just a tapware company. Are we looking at changing it anytime soon? Probably not. Is it something we look at in the future? Most definitely, yeah.
Right, fair enough. Cool, good. I think I know the answer to this question, but for the benefit of the audience, I'm going to ask you anyway. What's your level of comfort with sales been?
In actually doing it myself?
Yeah.
Mate, I enjoy the process.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the process. It is my highest and best use. I love sitting, and I'm not a car salesman type salesperson. I'm a real solutions-based, value-adding salesperson from that perspective. I love nothing more than sitting down with James, the bathroom renovation company, and going, if you do this, this is the value it's going to add to your business. And not just from a monetary perspective, I'm talking lifestyle, I'm talking the ability to employ more people, doing a little bit more financial, having a little bit more financial freedom just by using our products and services. So from that perspective, I get a real kick out of it. I don't find it a job. I have never struggled since we started this business, and it's been a slog because we're in a highly saturated market. I've never struggled, I don't think, on any given day, unless I've been somewhat hungover, to be able to get out of bed and get my ass into work and do what I needed to do for my clients. So I love the process. Having brought in some key people around the business at the moment as well, like my business development executive, got a new EA, new operations coordinator, marketing supporting us, as well with our warehouse team, and all of our delivery guys. It's now I'm starting to get into that stage where I'm starting to elevate myself back out into that sort of highest and best use, because I've spent the last 3.5 years or so doing everything, like literally everything, as all small business owners do when they start. So I've probably never been in a more comfortable position. Having someone else beside me doing sales as well has been a real breath of fresh air. And I've now just brought in a new interior designer to help with front of house sales and specifications for our clients as well. And we're actually redoing our showroom downstairs as well, which will be launching mid to the end of June, end of November as well. So can't complain at the moment. I'm enjoying the process.
That's really interesting, right? So almost every one of the hires, almost not all of them, but almost every one of the hires you've made in recent time has in one way or another been designed to help promote the business, market, sell. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you know you were going to do that two years ago, or even 1 year ago, or has necessity brought you to that point?
We always had a human resource acquisition plan in my head. A lot of those triggers on bringing those on were around revenues, because they needed to be sustainable, right?
Yep.
I knew the first person I needed to bring into the business was probably going to be someone that could handle business development and sales and that sort of stuff. So someone that could help me with boots on the ground to help with our brand awareness and that sort of stuff. With marketing and that sort of stuff, it really just underpins and helps when Gary and I are out on the road, sitting down, talking with clients. They've heard of Industrie, they've seen us on social media. It's not foreign to them. Yes, we're a new kid on the block, but it's not a completely foreign business to them. So to a degree, some of it has been out of necessity because I've been running the operational part of the business as well. So bringing on Nicole, my EA and Ops coordinator, has been unbelievable, because all the stuff I don't enjoy doing, she is now doing, like we did with the other business. And again, like I said before, getting to this particular point has been really, really challenging, but also very rewarding now that I can sit here, have a conversation with you, not have to worry about what's going on. I'm not staring at my phone waiting to service a customer because no one else is doing it. So it's a nice spot to be in.
Yeah, isn't it just? Absolutely. So one of the things you mentioned a moment ago is that it's a saturated market, and I would imagine that it's saturated and it's competitive. Is it a price sensitive market?
Yeah, it can be, no question.
Yeah. So what have you done then to kind of distinguish yourself?
Two things. We had to be completely committed to our business model. Our key point of difference is that none of our products are available online, visibly, as far as pricing is concerned, or through any other retailer. And we've had so many opportunities and been approached quite a number of times to go down that retail path. And from a financial point of view, it makes a lot of sense. But from a heart and soul perspective, I'm starting to run with the foxes and hunt with the hounds. I can't ask a business owner to support me and then they're getting touched up on the other end, because the homeowner, the end consumer, can then go out and price check that particular item and then find it cheaper and then come back and try and punch that price down. The real key point of difference for us is complete transparency across that level. So all of our products are available at a wholesale price. At that particular level, the bathroom renovation company, builder, designer, architect, they're allowed to play with margins as little or as much as they like from that perspective. So It gives them freedom. It gives them the ability to discount and know that they're still making a decent whack on their products as well. But the end consumer is getting a product that I believe is probably second to none in the country. We now have Australia's leading warranty. So we've got a 30-year warranty on all of our tapware, shower accessories and all that sort of stuff. It's Australia's leading warranty on tapware.
Wow.
Nowhere 30 years full replacement on the body. To do that, we've been testing the product independently here in Australia. So every batch that comes in gets tested here in Australia as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a batch test which touches to chemical analysis, making sure that the chemical composition of each product is what it needs to be. But we also do a dezinkification test, which tests the actual structural integrity of the product as well. So we can sit here comfortably knowing that in 30 years' time, our tapware and products are going to outlast probably just about any bathroom renovation that's done. So had to find that key point of difference. One is the flexibility and the complete wholesale access to all of our products, and one is bringing out the right sort of quality.
Yeah, cool. So, one of the things that you've kind of said indirectly is that, sales is something that's come naturally to you.
Yeah.
And I think you might be aware that I'm partway through writing a book. It's entitled The S Myth, and it kind of, borrows from a book that was written last century called The E Myth by Michael Gerber. And it talks about the fact that small business owners do need to master the art and science of selling, right? For somebody who's comfortable with selling, what would you say to business owners who aren't, and as a consequence, maybe their revenues aren't really kind of going where they ought to and deserve to?
That's a good question. If you're not good at it, you need to get good at it, because no one else is going to sell your product like you will. Mm-hmm. And if you're not good at it and you don't have the right sales process in place, it's very hard for you to bring someone else on and get them to be the magic unicorn that's going to come in and make all of your sales issues go away. Yes, you can hire key personnel that can try and do that for you, but if you're in a position where you can't afford that, then you need to start to understand, what is my sales process? What are the pain points for the customer journey for my particular customers? Understanding how you can add real value to your customers and start to really inject those particular things into your sales process. But I think first and foremost, you need to have a sales process. You can't be having 30 different conversations with 30 different people if you're selling the same product. It needs to be continuity of the deliverable, there needs to be value, and there needs to be some benefit to the end consumer of it. So finding those out, getting those key points across to whoever your market is key. But having a process is the first thing I'd look at doing if they're feeling uncomfortable, because it takes there's nothing, and I've been in that position before when I was younger, not having a sales process, and I don't like to use the word pitch, but having that type of framework in place, you can sit down, you start to feel nervous, you start to feel uncomfortable. If you're not used to selling and not having these types of conversations, it can be quite challenging. And then all of a sudden, if you don't have a couple of wins, it just smashes your confidence. So then you're starting to go in and you're self-doubting yourself, and it becomes a horrible experience when it can be so much more better just by setting up probably the right sort of frameworks and having some sort of sales process to start. It needs to be fluid because it's going to evolve, especially if you haven't got that ability to bring someone in to pull that together for you. But you have to sort of start it from day one is probably what I'd recommend.
Yeah, right. One of the opening lines in the book is, in fact, the opening line in the book is, in inverted commas, "You take care of sales, I'll just focus on delivery. I hate selling," end quote. Yeah. That's actually me talking to my, at the time, business partner, right? And where I just wanted him to focus on kind of all that salesman-y stuff and let me just deliver, a quality product to the marketplace. The irony of all of that is that what we had was a sales training company.
Yep.
Right. So he was like a co-owner of a sales training company who didn't want to be doing sales.
Yeah.
Kind of bizarre. Fast forward to more recent times, and one of the things that a light bulb that just went off for me, and it was around the time that I launched this business, was that when you can get around the mindset of this is all about understanding whether we can create a fair exchange of value.
Yep.
Right. And in particular, to be comfortable around the notion of, and I used to say this to some of my salespeople in my previous business, in my leadership business, just look for the ones who are looking.
Yep.
right? Once those pennies dropped for me, the idea of being in sales, or that fear I had of being in sales, just kind of went away. Does that resonate for you?
Yeah, I think the thing for us is Industrie Tapware needs to be probably unapologetic of who we are and what we provide our customers, right? We don't, we're very, very proud of what we've created, very, very proud of the value that we add to our customers. But we also know we're probably not going to be for everybody, and we needed to feel real comfortable in that. That's okay. We're not going to be the number one best solution for everybody, and we're comfortable with that. They're the kind of clients that we don't need to spend any time with, but unless you have an initial conversation, you won't find that out. But there's no point trying to push that relationship if they don't see the value or require the value for their business.
Yeah.
So I think you just need to be a little bit comfortable within your own skin to go that, right, my product isn't for 100% of the market, but the key people, really understanding your client avatar is key. Understanding the people that are going to benefit the most out of your business, they're your absolute, you just touched on it there, they're the ones you spend the time with. They're the ones that you want to actually go and put yourself in front of, because, and I know sometimes it's hard to, you might have, as an example, our target was bathroom renovation companies originally. Not all of them are going to want to deal with this for whatever particular reason.
Yep.
But unless you have that conversation, you still got to spend a little bit of time, but you just minimize any other time you spend with them post that sort of particular conversation. So again, back to a sales process, having a conversation with someone and having some key questions in there around that can sort of, you can find that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, great. I love the line that you've just used there, and that is that when you can identify that avatar who's going to benefit the most from what you do, I mean, that's a fantastic mentality to have, right? So it's not who's going to buy from me, it's who's going to benefit the most from what we do.
100%, because there's, we've broken the industry up into sort of 3 different areas. We've got designers and architects are in that specification realm. You've got bathroom renovation companies, and there's a big different array of bathroom renovation companies out there. You've got a guy that's working off the back of a ute or out of a van, and then you've got guys that are having franchises and showrooms and all that sort of stuff. So there's different levels to that as well.
Yeah.
And then also understanding how we best add value to them was really, really crucial. So we've split them up that particular way. We have different conversations with our different groups of B2B clients, but it's more around how we add value and how we sort of can integrate our products and services into how they deliver that to their clients. So,
yeah. Cool. When you and I first met, the way that we met, of course, was because you were investing, both you and Sarah were investing in yourselves and going down a path of both personal and professional development. Is that something that you've both been into for a long time, or was this a new thing?
No, definitely not new. I think I touched on it with you earlier before when we had a couple of those issues with cash flow management early on in the business. We needed to go and find out how to make that better.
Right.
When I was in the scrap industry many years ago, back in 2005, 2006, I knew that being the general manager of that particular business, I didn't really have the academic skill set to be as best as I could be in that role. Mm-hmm. So I went and studied. So I've always probably come to different triggers in my career that have gone, all right, probably need to be a bit better here. I can't bring anyone in to do it for me because that's actually my job. I need to go and upskill myself. So
that's great.
I've always had that sort of drive. Sarah, she's a lot smarter than me in a lot of other areas, and we complement each other really, really well. She's really enjoyed this particular journey as well. I mean, from where I've seen her come, even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, to where she is now, sitting at that leadership level, dealing with the day-to-day rigors of business, I couldn't be more proud of her in that regard. But that's come through personal development and the drive to want to be better,
right? Because
we've got 2 businesses that need us to be successful leaders. So there was definitely some upskilling, and we've definitely, I don't think education and wanting to be better will be ever out of our goals. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
We're definitely not going to sit here and say we know everything. We can always be better at certain things, but providing we're spending the right time on the right things, then I think we'll always continue to keep trying to improve ourselves.
Yeah, great. And I think that's really, really important. I mean, the fact of the matter is we're in a world today which continues to evolve, right?
Yeah, of course.
The world the way it was 10 years ago certainly isn't how it is today, and most unlikely to be what it will be like in 10 years' time. And so if we're not learning, in reality, we're probably on the slippery slope to dying, right? At least intellectually dying.
Totally agree. I mean, there's probably two key examples of that. One is marketing. When I did my business diploma, majoring in marketing many, many years ago, I mean, you could probably tear that diploma up and throw it out the window now, because we're now on omni channels of digital media and accessibility that just blows my mind. The marketing team that I've got out the back there start to talk to me about stuff, and I'm like, I don't really know what you're talking about, but the numbers are looking okay, so you just keep doing what you're doing. And probably the other thing that resonates with that is your particular services with hiring and human resource acquisition. Back in the day, it was, you're meeting someone for a coffee and you either hit it off, and if you did, that's great, you're now part of a team. Or then you got a really beautifully marketed, curated resume that, I was already hiring them before the conversation happened anyway, to now, the behavioral science stuff that you put into your particular services, mate, it's saved us a fortune and a shitload of time. So they're probably two of the biggest evolutions over our business journey that we've noticed, that you either have to get on board with it and embrace it, or you just get left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to wrap this up. Yours has been a success story, right? Not an overnight success. And you kicked off by saying that people will often look at you and kind of think, wasn't he lucky, and all that kind of thing, right? If you were going to kind of distill it down to a particular formula, as it were, and the advice that you might give to anybody who's recently kicked off a business, what would it be? What are the words of wisdom from Ryan Comerford?
Surround yourself with like-minded people, mate, for sure. Really understand, as a small business, what you want to achieve out of it, what your personal goals are, because they're going to be your driver every day. But also really start to understand what you're not good at, what you're good at, and then work out ways that you can either outsource, borrow, plead for time or assistance from wherever you need to get it from to make that work, to start to give yourself a little bit of a head start to get through that first sort of 12, 18 months. Once you start to come through that and you're starting to really resonate with your particular clientele, the rest will take care of itself. But you really need to be passionate about what you're doing. And I think further continued education and self-development's a key as well, mate. Just making sure that you're not happy to sit here thinking you know everything, that you're a little bit humble with that particular experience and self-aware. So they're probably my main key ones, mate.
Okay, brilliant.
No worries.
Who's your ideal client?
For us, it's a bathroom renovation company that has probably always just, sent their clients off to another retail outlet to let their customers pick all of their products. They're our ideal customer, because the bathroom renovation company has to then arrange the order of all those products. They come in, they have to warrant it, they have to install it, they make nothing out of it. With us, we take care of that whole process for them. They can send their clients to us if they need be, but they get a financial kickback that allows them to start to grow their business and give them a little bit of financial freedom. So they're probably our ideal customers. Designers and architects that want to specify our products, they're obviously now getting the benefit of that, but generally small business owners in that particular realm are our key targets.
Okay, brilliant. So in wrapping up, if Ryan has just described you and you want to kind of investigate what advantages you can gain out of doing business with Industrie Tapware, what's the best way for them to find you, mate? What's the website?
Yeah, go to the website. So it's www.industrietapware.com.au. You can fill out a contact us form, and one of our support staff will get back to you within about 24 hours. Brilliant.
All righty. Ryan, thanks heaps for being on the show with us today, mate. I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, we have pushed through nearly 50 minutes.
So it's been a pleasure, mate, as always.
Good on you. All right, mate. I'm going to leave you to it. Go do some damage.
No worries. Cheers, mate. Take it easy.
See ya. Bye.